Well, what do you say we get into the story at
Okay.
least?
So before
Um,
we do it, is it a story that's so is this it's a rabbit hole. It's not someone that told you a story.
that is correct. I am reading you a post made by a Redditor
Okay, okay. I'm glad because
many years
if
ago.
I start shit talking it, I don't want it to
That's
be
okay.
a personal friend of yours that I'm like that's
Nope,
phony.
nope. Let me just get the absolute date on this, because there are some soft predictions that were made in this Reddit post from many years ago that did come to be at least adjacent to true.
Okay.
And I think that's what helped. This ended up being a very big thing on Reddit during its time, but of course, anything that happens in Reddit in its own little community can be a big thing, and it could be completely unseen or unheard of by millions of other
Can I
people.
ask what subreddit is?
It was initially posted in UFOs,
Okay, okay. Should have known. Should have known.
or could be r/aliens as well. Looks like a lot of the conversation happened there. It was reposted or cross posted to UFOs or aliens, but a lot of the discussion happened around that.
Okay.
Um, I am really trying my hardest to find a date here, uh, but my understanding is this was somewhere around 2015,
Okay.
maybe even sooner, maybe
Did
2014.
you get into it
Because
around then, or did you just find it recent?
nope, I found out about it in 2020.
I see. I see. Uh,
Okay, but the post was made many years
this may
before.
seem irrelevant. Was this pre or post shutdown, COVID shutdown?
That I found
Yeah,
it. Um, it had to be happening all around the same
I
time.
see.
Like I know it happened in 2020. I could have been into it at the beginning there
Okay.
at January, but like I probably shut down because shutdown happened in March,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
So yeah, it was. I mean, regardless, it carried on through the entirety of 2021 as well.
Gotcha.
And as a preface, my partner at the time was not necessarily on board, but certainly not dismissive.
I see.
Um, oh, and a qualifier that I didn't know if I would I didn't know if I would put out beforehand, but I think is probably relevant just for the fun of it. Also, during 2020 and 2021, I was doing a lot of psychedelics.
Gotcha.
So that could be relevant to my susceptibility or whatever.
What what
Let's get into
what
it.
prompted your like when you're getting back into it, or you're reassessing this story? What prompted this?
Um, that's, I don't know. I think I've just never let go of it.
I see.
And I've also recently thought of the cringe things I used to
I
believe.
see. I see.
So
Gotcha.
it could be a little bit of both.
Okay. Okay. All right.
Okay, so again, this was posted maybe 2000. Also, I'm looking at it and reading it from my phone here, so if my eyes divert, that's why. And again, hop in at any time. This was posted by a Redditor named ThroAwaylien.
Okay. Good name. Good
Okay,
name. Solid.
as in throwaway
Throwaway account.
alien.
Well, the yeah,
Okay,
right. Well, the account is a throwaway account. Yeah.
correct,
Yeah. Yeah.
correct.
Yeah.
Well, the first line is throwaway account
Gotcha.
because I'm afraid.
I see. I see. I see.
Okay, this is how it starts.
Gotcha.
And again, chime in at any point. Throwaway account because I'm afraid from user ThroAwaylien. I was first, quote, abducted in 1987. I was 12 years old. I say abducted, but it's not really like that. Actually, you go willingly. It's scary, but it's exciting too. And they're somehow able to make you feel okay about things. It's not until later that you feel bad or like you've been violated. It's not until later that you feel bad or like you've been violated. And they don't do probing like raping or anything like that. That's Hollywood nonsense. They look inside of people sometimes, but they have machines that do it. Not really machines, but it's like a room where things get done and the walls are. It's hard to explain, so just imagine that all the walls are kind of like an X-ray machine. That's the easiest way to describe it. Sometimes there would be others there, and they would be looking into them, or they'd put them under and cut them open, but not usually. Also, just to be clear, it's very clear that this is a stream of consciousness, that this is someone
Right.
like just typing. This could be schizophrenic thoughts. I
Right.
am aware of that.
I already have
Now,
several thoughts, but I'll let you continue.
okay, I mean, again, chime in at any point. But they took tissue samples from all of us, and they never put you under or give you any anesthetic or anything. They just
All of us.
poked.
So like, there's like, not only was he abducted, but there was multiples of them.
Yep,
Okay, gotcha.
there is an assumption that there are more. They just poke you with things like they take, or with those things that they take samples out of the ocean floor, like that, but really small. They pull out chunks of you. It's usually done on the butt or the lower back. Mostly, they just talked with me. Just questions, and they'd show me things like television shows and things, and they'd ask me questions about them. I think the walls measure our reaction to things too. Same as they take x-rays. I don't know that, but it's the feeling that I got. They never ask you questions about what they're doing. Every once in a while, I got friendly with a few of them. They just don't like it when you ask them too many questions. You can't understand their language. It just sounds like, quote, I'm positive that we'll never able to communicate with them in their own language. I should mention that these are the, quote, grays that you hear about, except that they aren't gray. They're sort of beige, and it's clothes anyway. They aren't naked. I don't know if there are others. People say that there are, but I've only ever met this type. Anyway, you can't understand them, but they can understand you. And they can put thoughts into your head, but they can't hear your thoughts. You have to speak to them. They cannot hear very well, or else they are not very good at understanding English, so you have to speak loudly and slowly. I don't know if they understand other languages, but I'm pretty sure that they would. They seemed to be interested in all of us and in everything that goes on. They like a lot of things about our culture, too. Okay. Here's where things get wild.
Are they gonna?
If it hasn't already been
Are
wild.
they gonna come out as like Kim Kardashian fans or some shit?
Well, they even like some of our music.
All right.
Bluegrass is their favorite so far as I've seen. They like it a lot. They also love that African instrument thing that looks like a gourd with 13 strings. They love it, but they cannot stand horns or horn music. So my assumption is they hate classical music and jazz. I think trumpets sort of sound like their language, just based on the vibrations.
I'd be interested to
It's a
see
feel.
what this person's musical taste is. This is what I'm
I
thinking
know, I
about.
know, I know.
If
I
it
know.
lines up, it's they're like, it just so happens
It.
that they have the same musical taste as me. It's interesting.
I know, I know. It's a feeling that I get, but I've never been able to ask them. They've taken me up just about every 2 years, I'd say, since 1987. Sometimes it's more often, and I didn't go up at all between 1995 and 2000. They usually keep me for what feels like a day, but it turns out to be about 4 hours in total. The longest I've stayed with them was 3 weeks. During that time, they made me make phone calls and, quote, keep up appearances. They aren't really bad, but I was, and then it says they aren't really bad, ... Well, I was going to say people, but they're not really bad people or whatever. Now here's where things get specific. The two that I got sort of close with told me to call them Jack and Gina. I don't know if they're male or female or even if they have different sexes, but I know that those aren't their real names. Those are just names that they told me.
I don't believe
Okay.
it. I think their real names are Jack and Gina. I think aliens have the same names as us.
Okay. So there are some. I'm going to verify some things after this story, but there are some things that will be verifiable in just a moment.
Gotcha.
So the next paragraph, They will make contact with Earth on a wide scale in 2021. So this time has come and passed, just to be clear. That is the year when they'll land here, or colonize, or whatever. Now, I would like to just quickly interrupt the story to verify, or just to tie this into real-world implications. Do you remember the quote-unquote storming of Area 51? That was all sparked by this story.
Yes.
So Reddit was fuming, or Reddit was boiling about this story for about a year and a half post, because it really, my understanding is it boomed at the beginning of 2020, the post, because again, there are some verifiable things that people went to track backwards in future parts of this story. Okay. So yeah, if you were curious, not totally, but in large part, the attempted storming of Area 51 was sparked by this story here. Okay. All right. So shall I continue?
You go for it.
Okay. They will make contact with Earth on a wide scale in 2021. That's the year when they'll land here or colonize or whatever. I'm not exactly sure what their plan is. They don't seem to be evil or dangerous. Their planet is, or so they told me, a very long way away. They couldn't explain to me how far, they said, because it was too far for me to understand, and it was also, quote, close to the side. I have no idea what that meant, but it's always stuck with me. I think maybe it's relevant for later discussion. My takeaway from that, if I were to believe every bit of that, which I don't now, but my understanding of what that would mean is maybe like a dimensional thing. Like we exist in separate dimensions in the same place in time. You know what I mean? Like that's I think if we, whatever, I'm not saying that that's what it is, but do you believe in the possibility that aliens could exist in a non-physical dimension?
I think that there could be beings in other dimensions that we can't see because of that fact.
Okay, that's essentially what I believe he's communicating.
But I don't think dimensions work like how it is in the movies where you
travel to another dimension.
Dimension. It's like just like ours. I think it's more like the second dimension, third dimension, fourth dimension thing where a second dimensional being could interact with us, but only to the point where it can just see our imprint. Stuff like
that. Exactly.
Yeah.
So whatever. I ran away with that meant these are interdimensional beings. Okay.
Right.
And again, I was on a lot of psychedelics during 2020 and 2021. So whatever. So it says, I have no idea what that meant, but it always stuck with me. Home is, quote, too far away for you to understand, but also close to the side, unquote. We don't have anything that they want, so they told me. So I don't really know why they come here, or why they've taken so many of us up, or why they've gotten to be friends with me. They do not have any religion, and they don't need oxygen or water or trees or anything, I don't think. They don't eat people. Or sorry, that's reversed. They don't eat people. They don't even eat. I don't think they want to breed with us or genetically engineer us. I don't know what they want. But they've been coming here for, I'd guess, at least 10 or 20,000 years. I'm not very good about history and, quote, upper Paleolithic, unquote, and all that. But they've got videos of all sorts of stuff, and they showed me video of Neanderthals and Cro-Magnon, which were really just like us humans, except they had all black skins and way less diversity. All sorts of other human-like things, us's or whatever. And they showed me video of the pyramids being built and this huge stone building that I guess is lost somewhere or was destroyed, but it was in Europe. I could tell from the video. I'm sorry, these punctuations are strange. They have video of them talking with all sorts of people throughout all of human history. They showed me some of them and asked me questions about them, but I couldn't understand any of it because I only speak English, and even English from 200 or 300 years ago is so different that I could hardly understand it. So I told them that they probably knew more about it than that they probably knew more about it than I did. Just 2 more paragraphs here. I was up 3 weeks ago. That was the most recent time. I'm pretty sure that I'll go again in a couple of years, but I'm not sure after that. The whole, quote, program, or whatever they call it, is going to change in July of 2021. I think they said 8th, but it could also have been the 18th. I wasn't hearing them very well. They weren't trying to go intimidate me or even warn me, so I don't think we have anything to worry about. I hope they don't show the videos they took of me when they first started taking me up, because I was so scared and young, and they are embarrassing. Now we have 2 updates that have edits. The update, one of the edits came a month later, and it said, I changed what could have been an accidentally racist bit in there that someone pointed out. I changed, quote, they were all black to, quote, they all had black skin. Okay? So there was an update. And then the next edit was in 2020. And it says, no more questions. They are not happy with me.